everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Sales Copywriting and Content Marketing Hacks podcast. This is the final podcast of the Sales Copywriting and Content Marketing Hacks podcast. This is episode 202. This is our last episode. We will be rebranding the podcast as something else to do with AI, the AI report or something like that. We're going to have a talk about it this week. But Sales Copywriting and Content Marketing Hacks has run its course. It is time for a new focus, which will be very similar, just a new name and talking about how to use AI to get results in your business. So
I like it.
it's going to be good. I mean, we've been doing this for what, 5 years?
Yeah.
So it's time
Yeah.
for it's time for something fresh. So Stu, for our ultimate episode, what are we talking about today?
Well, you know what? I'm glad this is the last episode because this is one of those that should be prominently located, for people because it asks such an important question, and we're going to answer it. And it may
Okay.
even take us the whole time to just answer this one question.
Okay.
Okay, so it starts off, and this was sent to me by Susan at the end of our last podcast that we didn't get a chance to read. I don't think we could have read it in a closing answer anyway, because it's this developed. I just started using your software. I have no clients, but I think it will give me an edge over local businesses. How would you recommend using it to get my first local clients?
Okay. That's a great question. So as you know, everything starts with the avatar. So local business is too general. That's basically saying anybody within a 30-mile radius of my house that can fog a mirror and claims to be in business is a potential customer.
That's a good
That's
point.
not good. I'll
Yeah.
give you an example. One of the things that I did when I started selling insurance was when you're new and selling insurance, you're trying to find people that need insurance but haven't already gotten insurance. So I focused on the new marriages, I focused on new births, and I focused on new businesses. The problem is that focusing on new businesses, usually new businesses have no money.
True.
Focusing on births, those people have no money because they got a baby.
Hmm.
And new marriages have no money because they just got married and they're starting out. And then here comes 21-year-old Jim trying to sell them life insurance. That was really a hard row to hoe.
Woo.
I would have been better off saying, okay, I'm going after retail business owners that I can actually get in front of. So maybe they have 3 to 4 employees. I have a chance of actually being able to get in front of them, talk to them. So my number one thing I would tell you to do is to pick a type of local business. Now, whether it's retail or service or what's the other difference between retail, service, manufacturing?
Hospitality.
Hospitality. I like that. Okay, that would be the number one thing I would do. Who? Now, what is their problem? What are the problems that every single business has? Every single business, no matter what they do, has 3 things that they need to repeatedly engage in. All right? Leads, sales, relationships. So I would look at, once I chose the type of business I was going to go after, I would go identify the 100 that I would want to do business with. Honestly, I would identify 100 businesses that I would want to do business with. Now, whether that's going through the Chamber of Commerce, whether it's going through the phone book, I remember when I had my web design company, we went through the Chamber of Commerce slash phone book slash just local business directory. I was working out of my trailer. For some reason, my daughter Nancy was available. I don't even remember why. I mean, kids in high school or middle school or something. And I had her cold calling local businesses, but we were smart because we created a directory called I don't remember, in Williamsburg or something like that. We had the directory and we called them to ask what their web address was because we were filling up the directory and we would list them in the directory at no charge. Well, guess what we did when they said they didn't have a website?
Build them a
Aha!
website.
Hey, do you want one? I mean, and Nancy got me a lot of appointments. She did a great job. And so that's what we did. It was local businesses that needed a website. Now, I probably would have been better. And I naturally gravitated towards specific things like real estate agents. I was doing a lot with real estate agents, builders, real estate companies, brokers, that kind of stuff, because that was just my thing, because I had experience in that. So identify your 100, your dream 100, and then rank them. Then go look at what they're doing. What are they already doing online? What are they doing on social media? Stalk them. What are they doing on social media? What are they doing on their website? What are they doing with interacting with customers? How good is their presence? How good is their sales copy? How good? Where do they need help? Now listen very carefully to me. Where do they need help? Then help them. It's interesting that I can't remember whether it's Earl Nightingale or Napoleon Hill or who's the guy that did Dale Carnegie. I can't remember which one, but one of them tells the story of a friend of theirs. I believe it was Earl Nightingale. Tells about a story about a friend of his who, or no, maybe it was W. Clement Stone. I don't know. Anyway, tells a story about during the Depression, everybody had up signs in their windows that said "No help wanted." About 20% of the population didn't have a job. They were just wandering around asking somebody to give them a job. Give me a job. Give me a job. Walking up to people you don't even know, give me something. Whereas the people that own these businesses and companies were like, dude, I don't know you. I'm not going to give you anything. Number two, I need somebody to help me. I'm looking for the white. I think it was Earl Nightingale in the Lead the Field. He talks about this. So he talked about a friend of his that sat down and analyzed the local business scene, identified a couple companies, and really thought about how he could help them make more sales and thrive. And then he came up with a plan and he went to the company and he showed them how he could help them. And they would only pay him if they got results. He didn't ask for a salary. All he asked for was a percentage of the improvement.
Nice.
Hired him on the spot. So at a time when 1 out of every 5 people's wandering around almost starving to death, this guy had his pick of who he wanted to work with. So what I would do, and again, this is where you're going to also potentially piss some people off, but that's okay, because if you're not pissing somebody off before lunch, you're not actually doing anything. When I was a real estate agent, I would go down and I would check the divorces at the courthouse. And I had the balls to send a letter to both the husband, or let's say the two parties. Back then, 20 some years ago, it was a husband and a wife. And I would send a letter addressed to each of them at the same house, at the same address.
Whew.
That basically was saying, hey, things going on in your life, need to sell your house? Give me a call. Guess what? Hey, Let me tell you something. I got some listings. I
That's
helped some
good.
people buy houses. You know what else? I got cussed out a lot because people said I was trying to take advantage of them. I said, I'm not trying to take advantage of anybody. I'm putting an offer of service out in front of people who could potentially need professional, good service right now. And if that makes you angry, that's on you. That's not me. I mean, I had a lady just lay into me one time. I was like, hey, that's on you, honey.
Mhm.
I mean, my exact words were, feel better? I didn't care. My point
Yeah.
is, if you can honestly try to serve, you're going to get some customers with what I'm about to tell you do. But you're also going to piss some people off. Because what I would do, depending on where they need the most help, maybe it's in their advertising, maybe it's in their all the stuff they're doing on the front end. Maybe it's on their blog, maybe it's in their content, maybe it's in their follow-up. Okay? Or maybe it's literally in their sales copy and their offer. I would take whatever is most publicly visible and I would use the genies and wizards to improve it or to do what they're not already doing. Hey, I noticed you have a website, but you don't have a blog. Here are 5 articles I wrote for you that we could use to start a blog. And with the Genie, see, you could create those articles in about 30 minutes. And, I'll tell you one other story. I'm like Mr. Old Man Story today. So, gosh, when was Hurricane Isabel? Do you remember? It's like 1998. I think it was 98.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hurricane Isabel.
Yeah.
Um, so Hurricane Isabel, I was engaged in my business. I had been trying to get media and stuff, but back then that was getting press releases and stuff. And I would send press releases about what our company was doing and what I would also send press releases about people that we had done websites for and things like that. And I had gotten some decent press and also had made friends with a reporter. Um, so it wasn't Hurricane Isabel, it was a different one. Then somebody said 2003, so it wasn't Isabel. It was some other hurricane. Maybe in 1997 or 1998 there was a hurricane. I don't remember which one. I was still living in the I don't remember whatever. So it had to have been 1998 because this happened in 1998.
Okay.
So I had a thread of a relationship with somebody. And when the hurricane came through, I went out and took a bunch of pictures of hurricane damage in Williamsburg. And I called up the reporter I knew and I was like, hey, man, I got some cool pictures, digital pictures. And this is back when nobody had a digital camera. We had one of those Sony cameras that used a floppy disk like film. And I said, hey, do you need any pictures? I got some cool pictures if you want to see them. He's like, oh my God, thank you. Our photographer, for what I don't remember what the reason was, but our photographer has no pictures. So I said, oh, dude, I got you. So I went down to the newspaper. The power was out, all this shit. They're going off of backup generator. And there's the reporter, and there's the associate editor, the deputy editor, guy named Rusty Carter, who I'd never met. And they start looking at these pictures and they're like, what do you want for them? They thought I wanted to sell them. I said, oh, just give me a byline for in Williamsburg. And so one of the pictures I had taken was a picture of a partially submerged cop car.
Oof.
And the reason I was able to go take that picture was because Terry was a dispatcher, had been a dispatcher, knew all the cops, so they let me back there where they weren't letting anybody else in. And I took that picture and ended up being full cover front page. That was the money shot picture for the paper.
Nice.
So then I saw they were running this column. Now there's a lesson here, okay? I saw they were doing something already. They were running a column. The column sucked. I said, I can do a better job. So instead of going down there and saying, hey, I can do a better job, give me a shot, I went down there, I got the appointment, I went down there and laid out 3 articles I had written for them. Plus I showed them a copy of my book, which was comb bound and was unpublished. And I said, I'll write this column for you. And instead of you paying me whatever you're paying this other guy, I'll write it for free, but I want this byline. And I showed them what I wanted, the call to action I wanted with every single article.
Nice.
And they're like, let's do it. I wrote that column for 10 years and I used that column to leverage my way in with other newspapers, magazines, and publications all over the world. So what did I do? What's the principle? I understood what they wanted. And then I went to them with stuff already done that was better than what they were doing already. What I didn't do was crap on their existing guy who actually didn't work there. Now, if the guy had been a columnist on staff there, I might have had a harder problem saying, hey, that guy sucks, let me do it. And that's why I say you might aggravate some people when you're like, hey, I believe I can help you in this area. If they're already writing content and it sucks, don't say, hey, this content sucks. Hey, here's some additional content that we could do. And I'd like to talk to you about helping you to improve in this area. You're going to have somebody might say, oh, you get people that are pissing in corners, that kind of stuff that, somebody will get pissed. That's my job. You're pointing it out. All this, go away. We got that under control. That's just called sales. You'll
Sure.
have some people that say, man, we'd love some help. Now you could approach them by walking in or you could email them. Hey, I wrote these 5 articles for you for your blog. I'm a local content marketing expert and this is what I do. And I'd love to talk to you about how I could help you get more customers, build better relationships with your customers. Basically say, I'd like to talk to you about how I can help you get more leads, make more sales, and build stronger relationships with your customers. I would only, though, do it on a retainer or continuity basis. The only way I would do this would be getting somebody to pay. Hey, instead of you hiring somebody for $5,000 a month to be your content marketing director, let me handle the whole thing for you for fill in the blank. $1,000 a month, $500 a month, $250 a month. Figure out what's the menu of services. But then you get 5 or 6 companies that are paying you, an average of $1,500 a month. They get great outcome. You have predictable income, and 5 people paying you or 6 people paying you $1,500 a month is like 9,000. It's like close to 100.
Turns into real money.
Yeah, that's like real money.
Yeah.
So however you do it in a way that you are doing it on continuity. But the way you get your foot in the door is to give value first. Don't go to them and say, hey, let me write articles for you. You say, hey, here's an article, or here are several articles that I wrote for you to show you what I could do for your business. Here is a series of ads that I wrote for you to show you what I can do for your business. Here is another take on your sales letter or on your offer, on your sales page or on your other thing that you might want to do an A/B split test with. I'm not telling you to replace what you're already doing, but this might be an alternative. Why am I doing this? Because I want to add value for you and see if I might be able to help you. And if you like what you see, let's talk. If you combine that approach with, say, a local speaking campaign, like the people that you're approaching, if you can go speak at Rotary, Lions Club, you got breakfast Rotary, lunch Rotary, evening Rotary, depending on where you live. Same thing with Lions Club, Ruritan Club, all these different clubs where business owners come together. If you can give a talk about getting more leads, making more sales, building more relationships, what's going on with AI. I mean, I could get in front of anybody here if I wanted to talk about AI.
Yeah.
Because everybody wants to talk about AI. And then when they see you give a talk, and then you get a list of everybody who is at that meeting, Or you make an offer, pass around a sign up sheet. Hey, if any of you'd like to know how you could use AI in your existing business or things to look out for, would love to spend 30 minutes with you and just telling you about what we do and how AI could help your business, whatever, pass around the sign up sheet. There's a whole bunch of different ways to do it. But if you were to speak in front of a group and then start approaching people in that group saying, hey, I did this, I checked you out online, I scoped you out, saw what you were doing, saw some things I might be able to help you with, and actually did this for you. Is everybody going to say yes? No, but the point of it at this point is getting your foot in the door, and you could get your foot in the door pretty easily. So, I mean, honestly, guys, it's like that old Robert Allen thing, drop me anywhere in the country, and within 72 hours, I'll buy a piece of valuable real estate using no money of my own. All right. You could drop me anywhere in this country, and I guarantee you within 72 hours, I would have at least one appointment with a legitimate business that wanted to talk to me about doing the thing that this person asked about. Guaranteed.
Okay. I got a quick question for you. But first, before I ask
and then we got to wrap up.
Yeah. Hurricane Bonnie. I think that was the one in 98 that went right over Virginia.
Was that okay, Hurricane Bonnie? All right, that's fine.
Yeah. So anyway, just wanted to clear that up.
Okay.
Now, what if this person had a nonprofit?
Which person?
Like the person who asked this question. Right?
Had a nonprofit?
Yeah, had a nonprofit. What is there any difference in the way what you just said really changes?
Well, the person who's going to be offering this as a service, a nonprofit wouldn't ask the same question.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
if you were approaching a nonprofit to try and get them to hire you as opposed to a business?
No, if you were a nonprofit and and you were looking for leads and relationships and sales, is that triangle any different for the nonprofit?
Okay. All right. So the actual business is a nonprofit as opposed to somebody who's trying to break in and use the genies to do that stuff for people.
Yes.
So, okay, yes, it is different. You have two avatars. Okay, and I can't spell it, but so the first avatar is the people that are using the services of the nonprofit. So if you're like your nonprofit is a homeless shelter, these are the people showing up and needing to use your homeless shelter. The other avatar are the people that you're selling on getting them to give money, give time, volunteer, give donations in kind, which means stuff instead of money.
Sure.
Totally different avatar with a totally different message. And this is where nonprofits get jacked up. They don't separate the two. It's like, here's my avatar and you should give us money. No. Here's your avatar that you're trying to sell on using the service. This is actually a pretty easy sale unless it's something where people don't want to be seen using it, or in other cases it'd probably be a really hard sell.
Right.
A difficult sale. But over here, this is the classic thing of understanding why people buy. And it's probably not make money, save time, avoid effort. Now, these people are going to give time, products, money, because they want to feel good. They want to feel popular. They want to feel more love. They're going to give for a feeling or a tax break, maybe.
Tax break, be
save
helpful.
money.
Yeah.
That's make money, save time, avoid effort, escape pain, all that stuff. But more towards the end of that list, but also, there could be some tax ramifications and other things like that. But
sure.
That's the big thing is this split avatar, and is important to understand. So that was a good question.
Yeah.
All right. Well, was that a success? Was that an acceptable answer to your question that launched us on this discussion?
Yeah, especially as our last sales, copywriting, and content marketing hacks podcast.
Wow.
You like
you said
that?
It. You said it.
Got it.
You finally got it. It's time to quit.
Last day.
Quit while we're ahead.
That's right.
Sweet. All right. Well, that was good. Well, if people want to get in shape, where should they go, Stu Smith?
StuSmithFitness.com.
And if you would like to have amazing software to help you create all the copy and content you could ever need to get more sales, get more leads, and build stronger, more profitable relationships, head to copyandcontent.ai. We'll see you all next time. Bye-bye, everybody.